which you already studied in the practical also. But let's understand the theory of Zener diode in detail. And then after we calculate the example related to the Zener diode. So what is a Zener diode? So Zener diode, as we discussed that in the practical, that is always operated in the reverse bias mode. Yeah. So reverse bias on a crystal diode has increased when we increase the reverse voltage across the Zener diode. So that voltage is called as a critical voltage or breakdown voltage. Clear? And after the breakdown voltage is reached, as you see the characteristic, the reverse current is increased very sharply to a high value. You can see here in the reverse bias characteristic. After this breakdown voltage Vz, the current is increases very sharply. Clear? So this is a breakdown region of the Zener breakdown. Breakdown region is the key of the reverse characteristic, and the satisfactory explanation of this breakdown of the junction was first given by the American scientist C. Zener. So that's why this called as a Zener diode. And this voltage Vz sometimes also called as a Zener voltage. And sudden increase in the current, this sudden increase in the current after this Vz is called as a Zener current. So what is the difference between the diode and Zener diode characteristic is that in the Zener diode, the reverse current is increases very sharply after the breakdown voltage, where it is not happen in your normal diode. Yeah. Your current is increases, but not very sharply after the breakdown voltage. If you compare the characteristic of diode and Zener diode. Yeah. So that is the difference between both these diodes. Another difference that Zener diode is always operated in the reverse bias mode. Yeah. So this voltage Vz, breakdown voltage or Zener voltage, that depends upon the doping. It means how much impurities or doping is provided in the Zener diode. That decides the value of Zener voltage. Clear? So the breakdown or Zener voltage is depend upon the amount of doping you provided. If the doping is heavily doped, if you provide the more doping, then what will happen? Depletion layer between the junction that will become thin. Clear? So it means that when the depletion region is thin, it means that you can break down this depletion region for a very low value of the breakdown voltage. Clear? So consequently, the breakdown of the junction will occur at a low reverse voltage because the layer of depletion region is thin because you provide the more doping. More doping means thin depletion region, so require the less reverse voltage to break down the junction. Exactly opposite, if you provide a lightly doped diode, if you provide the less impurities, so what will happen? The breakdown region is, a depletion region is high, thick, so you require the more reverse voltage to break down it. Clear? So ordinary crystal diode that is properly doped and that has a sharp breakdown voltage, so it is called as a Zener diode. Clear? So in the Zener diode, it is properly doped, so its breakdown voltage called as a Zener diode voltage. Yeah? So properly doped crystal diode which has a sharp breakdown voltage is known as a Zener diode. So what are the different characteristics of the Zener diode? So Zener diode is like an ordinary diode except that it's properly doped, so it has sharp breakdown voltage. As we discussed in the characteristic that this breakdown happens at very sharply. Yeah. Because of it is properly doped, where your normal diode is not properly doped. So because of that, the breakdown is not happen sharply in the normal diode. So that one point you can write if you ask that comparison between Zener diode and normal diode. Second is Zener diode is always reverse connected and it's always reverse bias. Normally, as you can see that we operate the diode, normal diode in the forward bias mode. Yeah. For any particular application, as we see in the rectifier, half wave and full wave rectifier, we always operate in the forward bias mode. But exactly opposite, the Zener diode is always operated in the reverse bias mode. As we see in the practical also, we connect the Zener diode in reverse bias. Positive is connected with the cathode and negative supply is connected with the anode. Okay. Because we use the Zener diode as a voltage regulator. Clear? So it means that provide the constant voltage. You can see that after this breakdown voltage, current is increases very sharply but you can see that voltage across the Zener diode, that is remain constant. It will not change. It is remain Vz. Clear? So that characteristic, because of that, we always operate the Zener diode in the reverse bias mode application like as a voltage regulator. Clear? Third one is Zener diode has a sharp breakdown voltage. This is called as a Zener voltage. And if you forward bias the Zener voltage, its characteristic like a normal ordinary diode. There is no change in the forward characteristics. You can see here, this characteristic same as the diode characteristic. Only change in the reverse bias characteristic. Sharp breakdown of the voltage. Clear? And last one is the Zener diode is not immediately burned because it has entered the breakdown region. Clear? So Zener diode will not immediately burn or damage when it is entered into the breakdown region. Clear? So these are the characteristics of the Zener diode. Now what is the equivalent circuit of Zener diode? So when you can say that your Zener diode is on, as you know that normally we operate the Zener diode in the reverse bias mode. Okay. So in the reverse bias mode, when it is on, so condition is that when your reverse voltage across the Zener diode is equal to or more than the breakdown voltage Vz. Suppose the breakdown voltage of Zener diode is Vz. After this voltage breakdown happens, or at this voltage breakdown happens. Clear? So when the reverse voltage applied across the Zener diode, which is equal to or more than this breakdown voltage Vz, then what will happen? Current will increases very sharply, as we see in the characteristic. So in this region, the curve is almost vertical. As we see in the characteristic, curve is almost vertical. So it means that the voltage across the Zener diode is constant at Vz, even though the current through it changes. Yeah. As you see in the characteristic again, at this point, Zener voltage, current is increases very sharply. So this line is exactly vertical, but you can see the voltage is remain constant as the current is increases, but the voltage is remain constant. Okay. So at this region, we can say that your Zener diode is in on condition. Okay. So therefore, the breakdown region, an ideal Zener diode can be represented as a battery of a voltage Vz. Why it is represented as a battery? Because as you know, the battery provides the constant voltage. Same like here Zener diode, after the breakdown voltage Vz, it provides the constant voltage across it Vz. Yes, so that's why you can represent the Zener diode as a battery, and the voltage of this battery is a Zener voltage Vz. So under such a condition, Zener diode can be said as an on state. It means it is act as a closed switch. So you can see that the circuit diagram, suppose this is a Zener diode, its Zener voltage is Vz. Yeah, Zener voltage means at this voltage breakdown happens. So current is increases sharply at this voltage. And the condition is that V means supply voltage or is greater than or equal to Vz. Suppose your Vz is 50 volt and suppose your supply voltage is 60 volt. Okay, so it is more than Zener voltage. So when you apply 60 volt across the Zener diode, what will happen? Your Zener diode becomes on. Clear? So it is act like a battery here. You can see that I'm represent this Zener diode in the second circuit by the battery, because even if you applied the 60 volt here, but the voltage across the Zener diode remains how much? 50 watt, because 50 watt is the Zener voltage. Yeah, that remain constant voltage across the Zener diode. As we see in the practical also that after the 10 volt supply voltage, your Zener voltages remain almost constant. Clear? As we increase the supply voltage up to 20 volt, then after also your Zener voltage is only changes between 7.3 to 7.5 volt. Clear? So a very small change, but it is almost remain constant. Clear? So because of that, it is represented by the battery here. Okay. So this is the equivalent circuit of Zener diode when it is in on condition. So this is a on state of Zener diode. Now when we can say that your Zener diode is off state? Yes, anyone can guess when you can say that your Zener diode is in off state? For which condition? Yes, anyone can guess this? In which condition your Zener diode is off?
Supply voltage is less than Zener voltage.
Yes, very good. So when your supply voltage is less than 0 volt, Zener voltage, it means supply voltage is not sufficient to break down your Zener diode. So it means what? There is no breakdown happens. So in this condition, your Zener diode is act as a what? Open circuit or open switch? Yes or no? Because it is not conducting, so it is act as an open switch. Clear? So you can see that here, this Zener voltage Vz is greater than V, means supply voltage. So in that condition, your Zener diode is represented by this open circuit, and this condition Zener current is zero, because your Zener diode is not reached to the breakdown, so there is no current is flowing. So it means current flowing to the Zener diode is zero. See, this happens only when a supply voltage is more than zero voltage but less than the Zener voltage. So this condition is called as the off state of the Zener diode. And in this condition, the Zener diode is represented by the open circuit. So this is the equivalent circuit of Zener diode when it is in off state condition. All of you understand this on state and off state of Zener diode? Clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
when it is on, it is represented by what? Battery. Clear? And when it is off state, it is represented by open circuit. On condition is happens when your supply voltage is more than Vz. Off condition is happens when your supply voltage is less than V but more than zero. Clear? So keep these 2 points in mind so that it is easy to understand the examples related to this Zener diode. So let's calculate the example. Write down this first example. For the circuit shown in this figure, find the maximum and minimum value of Zener diode current. All of you first draw this circuit diagram and then find out the minimum and maximum value of the Zener diode current. So here you can see that in the circuit diagram, supply voltage is given 18 to 120 volt. It means it is a variable voltage source. Here, the variable voltage source vary between minimum voltage 18 and maximum voltage is 120. So it is vary between 80 to 120. You can see the symbol of this supply is also, this arrow indicates the variable voltage source. And in series, you connect the 5 kilo ohm resistor. And here Zener diode is connected in reverse direction. The current flowing into this Zener diode is IZ. And the Zener voltage is given, which is 50 volt. Clear? And here the load resistance, that is 10 kilo ohm, and load current is IL. So total current flowing from the supply, that is I. Here at the junction, current is divided into two parts. One is flowing into this load, which is called IL, and another current flowing into the Zener diode, that is called as a IZ. So here in this example, you find out what maximum and minimum value of Zener diode current. It means find out the minimum value of IZ and maximum value of IZ. So how to calculate this? Anyone can give any idea how to calculate the minimum and maximum value? Yes, any of you? Think about it. So what is the first step when current is flowing into the Zener diode? After जो on and off state. Clear? So where it is on, when your supply voltage is more than Zener voltage. So in that condition, your Zener voltage is act as a what? Battery, and the voltage of battery is what? Equal to Zener voltage. Here Zener voltage is given 50 volt, Vz. And when it is act as an open circuit or off switch, when supply voltage is less than Zener voltage. So in this circuit, your Zener diode is in which state? On or off state? Yes, anyone? On state.
On.
Why it is on state? Because your supply voltage is what? Vary between 80 to 120. So minimum supply voltage, which is 80, which is more than the Zener voltage. Clear? So always your Zener diode will be on for this range of supply voltage, 18 to 120. Clear? So first you identify the state of the Zener diode, whether it is on or off. So here we first find out from the supply voltage and Zener voltage that in this circuit diagram your Zener voltage is in on state. So in on state, how we can represent the Zener diode? Yes. How we represent the Zener diode in the on state? You can see here. It is represented by the battery. Yes or no? All of you?
Yes, sir.
And what is the voltage of Zener diode VZ? Is equal to how much?
50 volt.
50 volt. Yes.
50 volt.
Yes, 50 volt. So put the value here 50 volt as a battery voltage. Now you can see here it is represented by the battery of 50 volt. Clear? So first we identify the state and identify that your Zener diode is on. So voltage across the Zener diode represented by battery magnitude is VZ is equal to 50 volt. Now, how to find out the minimum value or maximum value of the Zener diode current? First, find out the maximum value of IZ. So, when maximum current is flowing into this Zener diode?
When supply voltage will be 120 volt.
Yes, very good. When your supply voltage is maximum, in that case, your Zener current is maximum. Clear? Because load current is remain constant. Yeah, because load voltage remain constant as a, like Zener voltage. Only change is what? IZ. Clear? So IZ is maximum when your supply voltage is maximum. It means V is equal to 120. So in that case, how much current maximum flowing into this Zener diode? Can you calculate this maximum current? Suppose here find out maximum current, okay, IZ. So assume that here we supply the voltage, maximum voltage 120. Clear? But across the Zener diode, the voltage is remains 50 volt. Yes or no? Across the Zener diode, the voltage is remain 50 volt constant.
Yes.
So how much voltage drop into this resistance? 5 kilo ohm. Your supply voltage is 120. Here at the voltage across Zener diode is 50 volt. So how much voltage across this 5 kilo ohm?
120 minus 50 upon
70.
Voltage, I'm saying voltage.
70 volt.
70.
Yes, 70 watt, because you can see they apply the KVL. So supply voltage is equal to what? Voltage drop in the circuit. Supply voltage is 120. Here voltage across the Zener diode is 50. So remaining voltage 120 minus 50, that drop across this 5 kilo ohm resistance. So now tell me how much current flowing into this 5 kilo ohm?
0.014 ampere.
0.014
milliampere.
So it means 14 milliampere. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now tell me how much current flowing into this load resistance. How much current flowing into this load resistance? IL. If this is 14 milliampere, if the voltage across Zener diode is 50, then how much current flowing into this load resistance? IL. Yes, anyone?
5 milliampere.
Yes, very good. 5 milliampere. How? So you can see that the voltage across the Zener diode that is connected in parallel with the resistance. As we know that in the parallel voltage is remain same. So voltage across this 10 kilo ohm load, that is also 50 watt. So current flowing into this 10 kilo ohm is what? Voltage across it means 50 watt divided by its resistance 10 kilo ohm. So 50 divided by 10 kilo ohm. So that gives you what? 5 kilo ampere. Sorry, 5 milliampere. You can see here. First we find out the voltage across 5 kilo ohm, which is 70 watt. Current through this 5 kilo ohm, so 70 divided by 5, so 14 milliampere. And then find out the load current, 50 divided by 10 kilo ohm, so it is 5 milliampere. So now tell me what is the Zener current? Total supply is 14. Load current is?
Maximum is, sir, maximum is 9 milliampere.
Yes,
And
very
minimum
good.
is 1 milliampere.
Yes, very good, very good. So current, maximum current is what? 14 minus 5. So it is 9 milliampere. Clear? You can see this here. Write down all of you this answer. Maximum current is 9 milliampere. And same way, minimum current is flowing when your Zener voltage is 80. When your supply voltage is 80. So 80 minus 50, this voltage remain as it is 50. So 30 voltage drop across 5 kilo ohm. So 30 voltage divided by 5 kilo ohm. So that gives you how much?
6 milliampere.
6 milliampere. And load current is what? As it is. Because voltage across Zener diode is remain same. This resistance is remain same. So that is as it is 5 milliampere. So current into IZ, that is 6 minus this IL. It's I minus IL, that is give IZ, which is 1 milliampere. Okay. Please write down this, all of you. Zener diode maximum current is 9 milliampere and minimum current is 1 milliampere. Clear, all of you, this? Any doubt?
No, sir.
So write down next second example. A 10 volt Zener diode is used to regulate the voltage across a variable resistor RL. Input voltage varies between 13 volt to 16 volt. The load current varies between 10 milliampere to 18.5 milliampere. The minimum Zener current is 15 milliampere. Calculate the value of series resistance. Calculate the value of series resistance. Can you calculate this? Yes, anyone can calculate this current? Calculate this value of series resistance. This is unknown value. Here your load is vary, so that's why the current flow into the load is also vary between 10 to 85 milliampere. And the minimum current flowing into this Zener diode is 15 milliampere. Zener voltage is given 10 volt and supply voltage or input voltage is vary between 13 volt to 16 volt. For this, calculate the value of this unknown resistance. Yes, sorry.
Sir, 60 ohm.
Sir,
No.
30 ohm. 30
Yes,
ohm.
answer is 30 ohm. How you get this answer? Can you explain this answer? How you get this answer?
Yes, sir. Sir, we will minus the voltage first. I minus E0.
But which
And we will
voltage?
divide.
But which
we will-
voltage? Your supply voltage is 13 volt or 16 volt?
Sir, 13 volt.
Why 13 volt?
Sir, because it is given minimum Zener current is given.
Yes, very good, very good. So here you can see that minimum current of Zener diode is given. So you take the minimum voltage, which is 13 volt, and Zener voltage is 10 volt. So how much voltage across this resistance?
Sir,
13 minus
divided
10.
by 13 minus 10 divided by 15 plus 85.
Yes, yes, very good. So let's see here, again explain you. First you find out the voltage across this resistance. So here minimum Zener current is given. So that is possible only when your supply voltage is maximum. So here minimum supply voltage is 13 volt. So 13 volt minus 10. So that gives you the voltage across R. So that is 3 volt. Here. And how much current flowing into this Zener this resistance? I is the total current. I is equal to what? IZ plus IL. Clear? IZ minimum current is given 15 milliampere. Load minimum current is given 10 milliampere. Clear? Sorry. Load maximum current is given 85 milliampere. Clear? When current flowing from the Zener diode is minimum, at that time current flowing in the load is what? Maximum. Clear? So here we take the maximum current of load and minimum current of the Zener diode. Clear? So that's why this 13 minus 10, 3 volt, and 15 plus 85 milliampere, 100 milliampere. So R is equal to voltage across R and current flowing into this R. So this gives the answer 30 ohm. All of you understand this?
Yes,
All of you?
sir.
Okay. So here I stop this topic, Zener voltage. Now start the next topic, transistor. Yeah. So what do you know about the transistor? Can anyone explain me what you know about the transistor? Yes, anyone? Have any idea about the transistor?
Sir, it is used to amplify frequency.
Amplify frequency or magnitude. That is the application of transistor. It acts as an amplifier. Transistor used to amplify the signal. Okay, not a frequency. That amplify the magnitude of the signal. Yeah. So that is the application of transistor. But my question is, what is transistor? What is the construction of transistor? How it is made up of? What are the different types of transistor? Have you know about this?
Sir, made up of semiconductor.
Yes, made up of semiconductor. And what is how much layer in the transistor? How many
Three.
layers?
3.
What are the different layers or what are the different types based on that? Have you know this? What are the different types of transistor? ભણી ગયા છો તમે 12th માં?
NPN and PNP transistors.
Yes, NPN.
PN.
Yes, very good. NPN transistor and PNP transistor. So how this name is given? NPN transistor and PNP transistor. What is the difference between these two? Have you know this?
NPN transistor in N-type emitter of NPN transistor is forward biased by connecting it to the negative terminal of the battery, and N-type collector is reverse biased by connecting it to the positive terminal of the battery.
Yes. So NPN, it means that what? P layer, P type of semiconductor layer is sandwiched by two N layer. So that becomes NPN transistor. And PNP transistor what? N layer is sandwiched by two P layer of semiconductor. So that becomes PNP transistor. Okay. So let's understand in detail. So as a transistor consists of two PN junction. As you know, the diode has only one junction because there are only two layers. One layer is P and another layer is N. So you have only one junction becomes in PN junction diode. But here in the transistor, we have three layers connected together. So that makes the two PN junction. Yeah. And that is formed by either P type or N type of the semiconductor between a pair of opposite type. So according to that, there are two types of semiconductor transistor. One is NPN transistor and another is PNP transistor. So in NPN transistor, that is composed of two N-type semiconductor. You can see in the figure, two N-type layer that is separated by thin section of P-type. You can see at the middle, the P section is thin as compared to two N layer and is sandwiched by these two N layer. So that makes the NPN type of transistor. However, PNP transistor that is formed by P section, two P section, which is separated by thin N type of section. So that becomes PNP transistor. Yeah. So this is a construction of NPN and PNP type of the transistor. Now, some points you can be noted for this transistor. So first point is that there are two p-n junction. You can see here there is a one junction formed between p and n layer, and that is another junction formed between this p and n layer. Same way in the PNP type also. So there are two p-n junction in the transistor. Therefore, the transistor may be regarded as a combination of two diodes connected in back-to-back. Clear? So you can represent the transistor as a two diode connected in back-to-back parallel, because there are two p-n junction. Yeah. And it is a three-terminal device. You can see that one terminal is connected at the end of n layer this time, and another terminal at this layer of n type, and another terminal come out from this p layer, that is a third terminal. So there are three terminal, and each type of semiconductor take the one terminal, and the middle section is very thin. You can see that both this transistor NPN or PNP. So this is the most important factor which used to function as a transistor, as a switch. PNP middle section is N, NPN middle section is P. Both are very thin layer. Now, what is the symbol of both these transistors? So this is a symbol of PNP transistor. This arrow is indicate the direction of its majority charge carriers, and this is the NPN transistor. Yeah. So one terminal is called as a collector, one terminal is called as a emitter, another terminal is called as a base. Yeah. So the middle layer, that terminal is called as a base, and the opposite terminal is called as a collector and emitter in both this PNP and NPN type of the transistor. So what are the naming of this transistor? How this name is given? So the transistor has three sections, as you see, and that is doped by the semiconductor material. And this section is one side is called emitter, and the section on the opposite side, that is collector, and the middle section is base, and form the two junction between emitter and collector. Clear? So now what is emitter? So this emitter section on the one side, that supplies the charge carriers. That supplies the charge carriers, electron on hole. So that is called as the emitter. Again repeat, emitter section or one section of the side which supplies the charge carriers. Charge carrier may be electron or hole, that depend upon the type of layer. Suppose it is a p type of layer, then it supplies the hole, which is happen in the PNP type of transistor. P layer is emitter terminal, where in NPN type of transistor, emitter terminal is connected with the N layer. So in that case, it supplies the electrons. So it supplies the electron and holes. So that's why it is called as a emitter. And emitter is always the forward bias with respect to base. Keep this point, which is a very important point. Emitter is always forward bias with respect to base, so that it can supply the large number of majority charge carriers. So what are the majority charge carriers? So suppose it is a PNP transistor. So what are the majority charge carriers in the emitter? Kaya avse? Majority charge carriers in PNP type of transistor for emitter? Yes, anyone? Give me the answer. What are the majority charge carriers in PNP? Yes, hole, because emitter terminal is what? Connected with the P type. So in the P type layer, the majority charge carrier is hole. If it is N type, like in NPN transistor, majority charge carrier is electron. Clear? So emitter is always forward biased with respect to base, so that it can supply the large number of majority carriers. It may be hole or it may be electrons. So the emitter in the P type of PNP transistor, that is forward bias and supply the whole charges to its junction with the base. Similarly, in the N type of emitter in NPN transistor, when it is forward bias, it supplies what? Free electrons, because free electron is the majority charge carrier in N type of emitter. Okay. You can see the figure of the PNP type of transistor. You can see here, P layer is connected. P layer is terminal is emitter terminal, which is connected with the positive of your battery. Clear? And negative is connected with the negative terminal, that is a base, which is connected with the negative of the supply. Clear? So it means that your PN junction, this junction is forward bias. Clear? Always this ammeter junction is forward bias, and always this collector junction is reverse bias. You can see the negative terminal of supply is connected with the P layer, and N-type layer is connected with the positive of the supply. Clear? So always this junction is reverse bias, collector junction, and emitter junction is always forward bias. Exactly same happens in the NPN type of transistor. You can see that N layer terminal, that is the emitter terminal, now it is connected with the negative, and P type base connected with the positive. So again it is forward bias, and again this collector junction is also again reverse bias. So remember that emitter junction is always forward bias, whether it is PNP or NPN transistor. Clear? So this is all about emitter terminal. Now next is collector terminal. So why it is called as a collector terminal? Because it collects the charges from the emitter. So that's why it is called as a collector. And collector is always reverse bias, and its function is what? To remove the charges from its junction with base. So you can see the collector in P type of NPN transistor that has reverse bias and that receives the whole charges that flow into the output circuit. So you can see here this circuit diagram here, this PNP transistor, this P layer is the collector terminal here. So what is the function of this collector terminal? Receive the holes which is supplied from this emitter terminal. As you know that P layer of emitter, majority carrier is electrons, majority carrier is hole. So that inject the hole or supply the holes. So all these holes are passing through the base to this collector. Clear? So the collector function is what? To collect all these holes which is supplied by the emitter. Clear? Same way here in the NPN type of the transistor, N layer of collector terminal function is what? Collect the electron which is supplied by this emitter terminal, because electron is the majority charge carrier in this NPN type of the transistor. Clear? So in short, collector function is what? To collect the charges, whether electrons or holes. Clear? So that's why it is called as a collector terminal. Now base, middle section, that forms the two PN junction between the emitter and collector. So that is called as the base. And as we already discussed, base emitter junction is always forward bias. So as we know that when any junction is forward bias, its resistance is very low. Clear? So that's why the base emitter junction, the resistance is very low. Where base collector junction is reverse bias, it means that it provides the high value of the resistance in the collector circuits. Clear? It means what? In short, current can be easily flow from P to N layer, but it is difficult to flow the current from N to P layer. Clear? So this is about the base terminal in the PNP or NPN type of the transistor. Now, how these transistors are working? How these transistors are working? So let's understand this graphically. So here I take the NPN transistor, and as we see that the emitter terminal that is connected with the negative of the supply, and base terminal is connected with the positive. That called as the emitter base voltage. As we know that emitter junction is always forward bias. Clear? So here, what is the majority charge carriers in this emitter layer? Yes? What are the majority charge carriers? Anyone? Give me the answer. Electron, because this is the N layer. Clear? So majority charge carriers in NPN type of the transistor is electrons. So now current is flowing into this transistor is what? Because of electrons. Because of electrons. Yes. Suppose it is a PNP transistor. So in this case, the current is flowing because of the hole, because hole is transferred from emitter to collector terminal. So that's why the name of the transistor is also called as a bipolar junction transistor. Clear? The another name of the transistor is what? BJT, bipolar junction transistor. So why this name given bipolar? The reason is that the current flowing into the transistor is because of both the charge carriers. It may be because of hole or it may be because of electron. That is depend upon the type of transistor. If it is an NPN type of transistor like this, the current is flowing because of majority charge carriers like electrons. If it is a PNP type of transistor, then that current is flowing because of majority charge holes. Clear? So current is flowing in the transistor because of both the charge carriers. That's why it is called as a bipolar junction transistor. This is a very important point. Now, how it's working? So as we see that this is an NPN transistor and forward bias the emitter base junction and reverse bias this junction. Clear? So the forward bias junction, it means what? The electron from this end region, from the N type of emitter, that flow towards the base. Clear? In this direction. So this is the direction of flow of electrons. Clear? And they tends to combine with the holes because P type of layer that contains what? Holes. So electron flowing from this N type to base that combines with the holes, and as we know that the base is very thin and it is lightly doped, so it means that that contains a very small amount of the holes. Clear? So only small percentage of electrons from the N layer that combines with this hole of this P layer. So most of the electron flowing from N type that passing from P layer to N layer of this collector terminal. Clear? Because the P layer is very thin, so only a small holes in this layer. So combination of electron and holes are very small percentage, like 5% or less than 5%. So 95% of electrons from this N layer of emitter pass these two junction and reach to the collector terminal. Clear? So current is flowing now from electron is now flowing from N layer to P layer base and then P layer to N layer of this collector. So current flowing into this N layer because of electron, that is called as emitter current, and current flowing into this N layer of collector, that is called as a collector current, and we call it as a IC. So as we see that almost whole electrons are passing from emitter to collector, it is more than 95%. So we can say that most of the current is flowing from emitter that pass through this collector also. Clear? So we can write the equation of emitter current is equal to what? Base current plus collector current. Clear? You can see that here when current is flowing from N type or when current electron is flowing from the N type, some of are flowing into this circuit, but most of the electron are flowing into this circuit, collector terminals. Yeah. 5% only electrons are combined with the holes, so that is remaining into this region, but most of the electron, more than 95%, are reached to this collector regions. Yeah. So base current is always very small amount, and we can say that your emitter current is nearly equal to or approximately equal to the collector current. Ideally, yeah, not exactly same, but ideally we can say that it's almost same. So this is the working of NPN type of the transistor. Please stop your, please mute your mic, please. Don't create the noise between this lecture.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely, but like, you know, you kind of nasty way, right?
भाई कौनो mic चालू है भाई, बंद कर दो please. Okay, so same way you can write the working of PNP type of the transistor. Now, can anyone explain the working of PNP? Same like this NPN transistor? Anyone? Explain me the working of PNP transistor. Same like this. Here replace the P layer. Here is N layer and here is the P layer. Now, what are the majority charge carriers?
Holes.
Holes.
Hole.
So now current is flowing into this PNP transistor is what? Because of holes. Now hole is transferred from, let's see this here in this figure. This is a circuit diagram of PNP transistor. You can see that this is the direction of hole. Yeah. So hole is transferred from P layer of emitter terminal to P layer of collector terminal. But in between that base, this is the N layer which contains the electron. So some of the holes from the emitter that combines with the electron of N layer. Yeah, that is again less than 5%. So more than 95% of the holes are transferred from emitter P terminal to collector P terminal. Yeah. So you can see that this direction shows the direction of holes. But you can see that in the circuit, the direction is reverse. In this wire, you can see that the direction is reverse. Why? Because the current flowing here in the external circuit, that shows the direction of electrons. As we know that the direction of electron and holes are different. Clear? So suppose the holes are flowing into this direction here. So electrons are flowing in exactly opposite direction. Clear? So don't confuse about this direction. It is right the direction, because here this inside of the PNP transistor direction is of current because of the holes, but in the external circuit the direction of current is based on the direction of electrons. Clear? All of you understand this? Is there any doubt? Yes, anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So this is the working of PNP and NPN transistor. Now let's see the symbol again of both these transistor. This is the first is NPN transistor and second is PNP transistor, and their symbol is here. Here. So here this arrow in the NPN transistor that shows the direction of electron. Clear? That shows the direction of electron. Or you can say that is the direction of current. Where in a PNP transistor you can see that this is the direction of holes. This is the direction of holes. And this is the symbol of PNP transistor. So here I complete this lecture. In the next lecture we see the operation of transistor as an amplifier circuit. How your transistor is work as an amplifier. How they amplify the input signal at the output side. Clear? And then after we see the different configuration like common base, common collector and common emitter for the NPN or PNP transistor. And then we write the we understand the different example related to this. Clear? So here I stop this lecture, and one thing I want to tell you that in the next week there is your internal exam. All of you know this. So here we not completed the second this last chapter, this basic electronics. So this chapter is not covered in your syllabus of second internal. So only chapter number 4 to 7 are considered in your syllabus of your second internal exam. Okay? So chapter number 4, 5, 6 and 7. This 4 chapter cover in your syllabus of your second internal exam only. In the final exam, all chapter will come because we have not completed the last chapter. So after this exam, we complete this whole chapter, chapter number 8, basic power electronics. Okay? And today I will give the question bank of all these 4 chapter, 4 to 7. So you can refer this question bank and find out the answer, and please read this question bank and understand it. Okay. If you have any doubt in the question bank, then you mail me. I will give the answer of that. Yeah. So here I stop this lecture. If you have any doubt, please ask the question.